Welcome back to our literary series. Today, we delve into one of the most heart-wrenching moments from Mary Shelley's Gothic masterpiece, Frankenstein. We're exploring the trial of Justine Moritz, a scene that powerfully illustrates the themes of injustice, guilt, and the destructive consequences of Victor's secret. Join me as we step into the courtroom and witness this tragedy unfold through Victor's tormented eyes. The trial began. First, various witnesses were called who testified to the facts which I have already related. A physician deposed that he had lived with the deceased a few days before her death, and that she had been in the best health and spirits. The express object of her journey being to benefit by the mountain air and the change of scenery. Several witnesses, who had seen her in the environs of Geneva the day before she was lost, certified that she had been particularly gay and in high spirits, and that her conversation had been full of vivacity and joy. When shown the body, she fell into violent hysterics and kept her bed for several days. The accused confessed herself guilty, but she said that she had been bewildered, that she had murdered the lovely child, and she begged forgiveness of God for her horrible deed. She was asked how she had disposed of the miniature, and she replied that she had thrown it into the pond. A woman deposed that she had passed the night of the murder at her house, and that she had been called up by her daughter, who had seen the accused go out of the house. The girl confirmed this evidence, and added that she had watched the accused and had seen her throw something into the water. A man who was present when the body was found testified that on examining the spot where the girl said she had thrown the miniature, they found it. This testimony was very strong, but so artless and direct was the narrative, and so affecting was the manner in which it was delivered, that for a moment I felt my blood congeal. I had no doubt that she was the murderess, and I thought with horror on her detestable hypocrisy. But when she was called upon to say what she had to reply to the charge, a look of despair and anguish came over her countenance. She said, "I am innocent of this crime, and I call heaven and earth to witness my innocence. I have no enemy on earth, and none surely would have been so wicked as to destroy me wantonly. Did anyone see me commit the murder?" "I did not, but you confessed it," said one of the judges. "I did confess, but I confessed a lie. I confessed that I might obtain absolution. But now that falsehood lies heavier at my heart than all my other sins. The God of heaven is my witness that I am innocent." I was moved. I believe she was innocent. I had no doubt of it. And when I saw the agony of her despair, I was convinced that she was not the murderer. And then I thought of the fiend, of my creation, my hideous progeny. I thought of the promise of revenge which he had made. The promise, "I will be with you on your wedding night," the death of William, the execution of Justine, the murder of Clerval. The words of the fiend rung in my ears. "I shall be with you on your wedding night." I was in an agony of despair. The blood of Justine was on my head. William and Justine, the first hapless victims of my unhallowed arts. I rushed out of the court in agony, and the judges, who had before been prejudiced against her, now seemed to pity her and to believe her innocent. The people, who had before been clamorous for her execution, now wept and cried, "She is innocent." But the evidence was too strong, and she was condemned. I saw the execution. I saw the pangs of death. I saw the agonies of despair. I saw the innocent die. I saw the guilty triumph, and I was the cause of all this. The execution of Justine was a great shock to me. It opened my eyes to the horror of my situation. It showed me that I was the slave of my creature and that I must do his bidding. Thank you for joining me in this powerful scene from Frankenstein. It's a stark reminder of how secrets and fear can lead to devastating injustice. If you found this reading moving, please like this video and subscribe for more journeys into classic literature. What other scenes should we explore? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time. In the quiet corners of our lives, there are stories of devotion and kindness that shine brightly, only to be extinguished by the cruelest twists of fate. Today, we're delving into one such tale, a heart-wrenching story of injustice from the pages of a classic. This is the tragic account of Justine Moritz. Justine was more than just a servant in the Frankenstein household. She was family. Taken in by Caroline Frankenstein, she grew up alongside Elizabeth and Victor, her presence a gentle, steady light. She was kind-hearted, pious, and deeply loyal to the family that had shown her such compassion. When Victor's youngest brother, the sweet William, was tragically murdered, the entire household was plunged into grief. But for Justine, this was only the beginning of a nightmare from which she would never wake. The search for the killer was frantic, but hope turned to horror when a locket, one that William had been wearing, was discovered in Justine's pocket. The accusation was immediate and brutal. How could this be? The gentle, loving Justine, a murderer? The very idea seemed impossible, a cruel joke. Yet the evidence, circumstantial as it was, pointed a damning finger. Her trial was a whirlwind of fear and confusion. Justine, bewildered and terrified, proclaimed her innocence. She couldn't explain how the locket got there. She recounted her whereabouts on the night of the murder, searching frantically for William herself until the city gates closed, forcing her to spend the night in a barn. Her story was plausible, but in the face of the physical evidence, her words fell on deaf ears. The court, the public, and even her own confessor pressured her relentlessly. They saw not a frightened young woman, but a monster hiding behind a mask of piety. Elizabeth, who loved Justine like a sister, fought for her, speaking passionately about her character and unwavering goodness. But even Victor, who harbored a dark, terrible secret about the true killer, was paralyzed by his own creation's threats. He knew the truth. He knew Justine was innocent, a pawn in the monster's vengeful game, but fear and selfishness kept him silent, and his silence was a death sentence. But, broken down by the relentless psychological pressure and the threat of eternal damnation from her confessor, Justine did the unthinkable. She confessed to a crime she did not commit, hoping for salvation in the next life since this one had become an inescapable hell. Her confession sealed her fate. The verdict was guilty, the sentence, death. In her final hours, Justine found a sliver of peace, retracting her false confession to Elizabeth and Victor. She faced her end not as a monster, but as a victim, a casualty of a secret she never knew. Her execution was a somber, tragic event, a profound miscarriage of justice that left an indelible scar on the Frankenstein family. The real monster remained free, and an innocent life was sacrificed to preserve its terrible secret. Justine Moritz's story serves as a haunting reminder of how easily innocence can be condemned, and how silence can be the most devastating weapon of all. Thank you for joining us in exploring this poignant and powerful story. If you found this narrative compelling, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the heart of literature. We'll see you next time.